In this episode, we cover industrial foregoing basically from start to finish. We produce latex, pink slime, and ether gas. Then we set up stonework factories as well as simulated hydroponic beds. So we are back for another episode. Today, we are going to try to go through the entire progression line for industrial foregoing. So I want to set all those up, and in order to get started with industrial foregoing, the first thing we need is latex. And if we take a look at latex, you can see it comes from a fluid extractor. And depending on what kind of log you have in there, so you can see acacia and mangrove give you 4 millibuckets per work. Other things give less. So we do want to either do mangrove or acacia logs. Do we have mangrove saplings? We do, but I don't know if we can grow mangrove like this. I think I'm gonna go with acacia. That's where this market guy comes in. My spellbook placed it down because I added my inventory. Let's see how this works. You can trade him for different kinds of saplings. I don't have an acacia sapling, which we can buy one for a singular emerald. So let's grab some emeralds, and we want acacia saplings. Let's grab 2. And this guy can go away. And we will set up our timer, put it on 2 ticks, and let this guy go. It is not growing. So for some reason with the acacia sapling, I can grow it manually with the same exact spell. You can see that's working. And we're getting acacia logs. But for some reason, it's not working with this setup that we have. Which is okay. We're not going to need that as soon as we set this up anyways. Let's go to our new area over here, which will be for industrial foregoing. And the portal for this one is white because industrial foregoing has a lot of white blocks. So let's get this set up. I think I went with another build. I thought a lot and hard, and I wanted to do something different than this because I don't want everything to look like this, but I couldn't think of anything I liked better. So we're going to stick with this for now. And the first thing we need to do is set up a quantum ring so we can have access to our applied energistics system over here. So we'll set this guy up. And then all we need to do is hook up a quantum link. So let's grab some singularities. And we need tiny TNT. Magnet off. We're going to drop singularity, ender pearls, glue them up. And one of these goes into here, and the other one we will put over here. Into this one. So now we should have access to our applied energistics. Here. So you can see this is glowing now. We are going to use an active formation plane that is going to place our block for us. So we need a cable. We can just use normal Fuchs cable. Like so. The formation plane will go over there. We will do an acacia log here, and it's going to place an acacia log. And then we need those fluid extractors. So let's make recipes for those. You can have more fluid extractors. I'm going to start with 4. That's going to be enough. And you place those surrounding the log, and they're going to start pulling out latex from it. Now, we need to store this latex, so we need a chemical cell, and I'm going to use a, how about a 16 million? Let's see how fast it makes a 16 mil. Not bad. It's pretty quick. Pretty quick. So we have a 16 mil fluid cell that I'm going to use for the industrial foregoing stuff. So let's go ahead and partition. We will store latex in here, liquid meat, pink slime, and ether gas. And I don't think I need equal distribution cards for now. I guess fluid cells we can put down here. So now our system will be able to store those fluids, and we just need to pump it inside. And I'm going to use Super Factory Manager to do that as always with an interface. So let's grab one of those, and this guy, and a bunch of those. And we need an interface. That will go right there. This interface needs to hold power so we can power the machines. And you can do that by right-clicking in any of these slots with any item that holds power. And then you can set this. So I'm going to set this to 4 million. And don't forget your induction card. This will not work if you don't have an induction card. So we put our induction card in there. Now we can access the power that's stored in here with Super Factory Manager. And we can put the manager guy over here, I guess. And basically all we're going to do is that should be okay. We shift right click to copy our labels. Here is the interface. We have our fluid extractors. And we push that back. Now we have latex building up in our system. So we have the production of latex basically automated. Let's make sure this is chunk loaded. And we're going to go back home, or go back to our applied energistics and set some more stuff up over here. So in order to make plastic, we need this recipe. So that's easy. Plastic is just dry rubber smelted in a furnace. So let's put that in our furnace. And then to make the dry rubber, it doesn't show it here. Well, it goes in a latex processing unit. So let's make a few of these guys. How about 4? And we can put them over here. I tried these powered framing saws and I don't like them. So I'm going to remove them. They just kind of take too long. And I had a modular router over here that was pulling the things from them. Okay, so that guy already has an induction card. So it's going to be powering these machines, as you see. And, oh, we need to make the recipe for dry rubber. But if it's not showing up, we'll need to math it out. So if I put in a bucket of water and a bucket of latex, it starts making it. So it's 750 latex and 500 water per dry rubber. So we can set that recipe up, go to processing patterns, and dry rubber will be water. You can just right click and then also latex. Oops. So, and then middle click. So it was 0.5, so 500 millibuckets of water and 0.75 latex for each dry rubber. So now if I put this guy over here and we put this here, we do need to push the outputs. This guy, I think if I break and pick it, put it back, it's going to lose the water. So now it's empty. Perfect. And we want them to push to the back. So the back is south side. Push. This will be north. It's all the back. Okay. So that guy push and this guy push. So now if I request plastic like 100, we don't have enough latex. How about 20? We still don't have enough latex. How about 10? Oh my goodness. 5 plastic, yay. These guys get the right amount of latex and our plastic is being produced and that's going into the furnace. And there we go. So that is set up. You can have these automatically producing the plastic, but you also need latex for other things like creating machines and stuff. Like all of these recipes require latex. So it's generally better to have it on AutoCraft, and then we can place a requester just to keep some plastic in stock. That way we wouldn't have to wait for it to craft every time. Okay, so with that, now we can make the dissolution chamber. And I'm going to do that for all 4 of these, I guess. Is 4? Nah, that might be too much. Let's do 8. We just need some more latex. While we wait for that, we can make our dissolution chamber recipes. So I will need to do the vibranium stuff. So the alloy. We'll make a recipe for that. And the tier 4 efficient, or the tier 4 upgrades require experience, and I'm going to use the Just Dire Things one. So I'm going to drag that in there and do 4 buckets of those. So when you are also setting those up, make sure that you use whatever type of experience you have. In our case, it will be the Just Dire Things one. All right, these are all the recipes I have for it. And if we use our memory card, we can copy paste it to this one. I need patterns. So now this one also has all those recipes. Okay, we do need to turn these guys on to blocking mode. And let's see if we can now make those dissolution chambers. Oh, so close. We also need to set up pink slime. And I can just do that in this corner. I'm going to make a cow farm over here. And I don't have hearts of the sea or conduits yet to turn off conditions. So I have to put down grass so that they can grow here, the cows. So let's also do just a lever on top of this for now. Turn that all the way to the minimum. And we're going to add all of it. So no AI has chorus fruit. We will put wool for silence. The spawn range will put as 2, so it doesn't spawn too far away. We will need some gas tiers to increase the spawn count for the max entities. And then the spawn count, I believe, is a fermented spider eye, which we don't have. All right, so with that, we should be able to spawn cows now. Hopefully it works. And we are going to need the mob slaughter factory, I believe it is. It looks like we might need a conduit for this to ignore conditions. So we will work on that. Basically, the mob slaughter factory will kill monsters in this area. So if we show area, you can see it's only this little part. But if we had a 1, 2, 3, how about a tier 4 add-on? That doesn't work because we don't have dissolution chambers. All right, the dissolution chambers we're going to put here with all these recipes inside. And same way, they're going to go all the way around the pattern provider. And these guys are going to, where the output is, also push into the back, into the pattern provider. All right, so these are all set up and they should be able to make our recipes now. And we're going to want to speed this process up. So let's grab our, can we make the tier 3 stuff? No, because we don't have pink slime. So let's just make some tier 2 add-ons, speed, efficiency, and all that. We'll need 4 of each. And placing these inside of the machines is going to make them faster. Here's our range add-on that we can put. So you see how it's +4? That means it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to do a 9x9 area. So if we put that in there, you can see it covers that whole area. So now this guy should be set. And we need to, again, connect this with inventory cables, which we will do. And then we are going to give power to the slaughter factory. And over here, we're going to input, or just put a forget, and then we're going to input fluid from the slaughter factory and put it into the interface. So now this guy is powered and ready to go. And if we put mobs down here, it'll do that. When you do hostile mobs, you get more meat. And when you do passive mobs like cows, you get more pink slime. So in this case, we are after pink slime. So I'm going to use pink slime or use passive like cows. If you wanted to also speed up this process, you can add more fluid extractors and put range upgrades in them. So right now it's only doing this block, but if you put range upgrades, you can do more area. You can also just like stack them up higher and then use the like a Just Dire Things placer block to do like 8 logs at a time or something like that. So that will also work, but once we speed these up, I think it'll be plenty enough for us. We don't need to go crazy with it. Should we try anyways? Let's do that. I'm going to show you that setup also. So I'm going to break down here and remove our formation plane. And we put the placer up there, and it needs to face the other way. Okay, so we have it right now. It's going to place in both of those blocks. So we need to give it power and also acacia logs, which we can keep stocked in here. So we'll set like 32 of them up and use Super Factory Manager. So we're going to take the acacia logs from the interface and retain 2 inside of the placer. Okay, and that's doing that. Now we need more fluid extractors. Problem with this is now we need to also hook it up with cables. We can do something like this. And we can facade all of these blocks so it looks a little bit more neat. Right, and once we put both of those upgrades, all 3 of the upgrades inside of these machines, you'll see they'll start to go much, much faster. Whoa. That was weird. Just spiked up to full. So now if we take a look at latex, nice, that's doing better. So let's make more of those add-ons for the top machines. So while this is going, we need to get some conduits. Let's see how we're going to do that. If we use seahorses and deeplings, we should be able to... Here's a seahorse DNA. So we can turn this into a seahorse thing, which I don't think they'll spawn here. So we'll have to put it in water. And we can use our spell book, put it on missile. And with just the one set that I killed, we got 51 Hearts of the Sea. All right, now we need a deepling one. Not the brute, just the normal deepling. So the deeplings are better for Nautilus shells. So you can see it drops 1% of the time. But you can also do like the anglers will drop it at 0.025%, and then the brute will drop it at 0.05%. So if you did want to go for the Nautilus shell, the deeplings are the best. I don't have a swap for that yet, but I do have both the angler and the brute. So I'm going to use the brute for now. And then once we need to set up conduits for real, then we can actually go out and find the other ones. So these guys, there we go. I got 3, 6, 8. Let's grab another swab so I don't lose their DNA. And now that we have access to a conduit, we don't need to spawn these guys in the water either. And with our newfound conduit, let's go back to here. And if we put that in there, now we get cows. And this guy should start killing cows. And there you go. You can see we are getting pink slime. So pink slime and latex are both automated. The last thing left to do is ether gas, which we will do in just a little bit. But let's grab some more add-ons and check it out. With these add-ons, we can do much faster. Look how much faster that's going. So now it's taking care of the cows basically instantly. All right, so we have 8 of all of these tier 3 upgrades now, which means we can speed up our dissolution chambers, and this will go much quicker. So the next upgrades for tier 4 require echo shards, and we don't have very many of those. So we will have to kill some wardens, and I'm going to make the warden prediction for our hostile neural networks, and we can get echo shards that way. So let's go to the ancient city, and because we have true sight on our as a thread on our Arcanist gears, we will no longer be getting blindness from the warden, which would be very nice. You can see here is a warden, but we can see clear as day. I am immune to your darkness. All right, I will put the warden prediction over here, and this will create echo shards. I'll just have to set it up on the filter as soon as we get one of those. If you notice, we also need experience, and we already have a bunch of experience. So let's go grab our experience holder. I am going to pick up, oops. I was supposed to pick up all the experience, but... And what we can do with this now is hook it up to our applied logistics system with a storage bus. I will put the storage bus down here. Like that. So now at 1200 levels, we should have XP fluid in our system, 127,000 buckets, and we can grab buckets of it for crafting seeds, and it'll also craft our tier 4 add-ons. So let's take a look at these guys. Echo shards is what we're missing, that's right. And I will facade. We are getting there. The only other thing we need now is ether gas, which we need a stasis chamber for that, so we can hold the wither. I hope I have enough soul sand. And then we'll need the drills. All right, so we'll need a purple lens. We will need a fluid laser base, and we're going to need, oh, how many of these do we want? If we do 6 on each side, we could connect 24 of them. So the way this works is we're going to spawn the wither down here on top of the stasis chamber, and the stasis chamber is going to keep the wither from being able to move. Then above the wither, we have a fluid laser base, and this gets the purple lens, and surrounding that will have these laser drills, and the laser drills power this guy. So I'm going to set down, oops. these guys 6 on each side for a total of 24 laser drills. And that'll make this very fast. These laser drills, the only thing they need is power. And we're going to power it with one of these energy transmitters from Just Dire Things. So if we take a look at this. So that everything is getting power now in here. Perfect. And hopefully those can keep up. And now you can see this is working. We will have to add upgrades to all of these machine things, and we'll do that. But we also need to pull the ether gas from here into an interface. And I think I would love to use Super Factory Manager, but I think in this case, modular routers will be better. So we can set a router here. Take out the camouflage. From there, it's going to pull into the router. And then we're going to push into our interface down here. It's out of range. So we can upgrade this to a maximum of 24 blocks. Is that going to be in range? Okay. And I think we need to set a bucket inside of it. Right, this should be set up. So let's give our stasis chamber some power and spawn the wither. There it is. And let's grab the wither muffler. So that gets rid of his the boss bar, and then we can stand over here and use this guy, and then we will call this you only need like a 3-block radius. All right, he's silenced now. Oh, I guess not. Why is he not silenced? Let's try 5. Maybe now he's silenced. And if we look in here, we should be getting ether gas. We are not. Is this getting ether gas? So this has ether gas. Maybe it just hasn't built up enough. So maybe this can only move a bucket at a time. So let's wait for that to happen. In the meanwhile, we can put upgrades in all of these. So the laser drills can get all 3 of the upgrades, but this guy only takes efficiency. Okay, so once it filled up to 1 millibucket, you can see that the router moved it in here, and now it's having a hard time putting it inside of the interface. This is set to transfer into router. We want to transfer out. There it is. So now we have ether gas. Cool. I'm going to protect this area a little bit. I don't think we'll have an issue, but we can use crystallix. So let's make this wand. That does some interesting things. And do we want the black one? And we can place it here. If you look at category crystallix in your keybinds, you'll see all the different ones. So I want to toggle the reinforce mode, which is X. So now reinforce mode is enabled. So now when you look at this glass, you can see that it is reinforced. Is there not a way to do this all at once? Basically, when we reinforce this, it means that the wither cannot break them. And we can turn on ghost mode that allows player. So now the player can walk through, but no one else can. So if we look at that, we can walk through, and these ones that ghost mode is not turned on, we cannot walk through. So I'm going to turn that on. So this will be well lit. And we can walk through, but the wither will not. Super cool mod. Also by, oh, I am Stasis. This mod was also made by Sathroff. And while we're talking about that, we can also take a look at the utility vest mod, which adds these vests that can allow you to change your hotbar. So the things go in, like you save a hotbar, and then you can use the keybind to bring that hotbar back. I don't really use that because I just put everything in Applied Energistics, but that's also a cool mod made by Sath. But now the reason why we have all of this set up. So here we're getting latex, here we're getting pink slime, and here we're getting ether gas. The one other thing we need, so I want to make, well, let's start with the Stonework Factories. So we do need to make this, which requires pink slime. And we can just do that in the dissolution chamber. So these guys are cool because they can generate resources for us. So I think I will put them down maybe somewhere along here. All right, we can place 9 of these guys over here. And they will produce things for us. First, we need to feed them with power. Right, so these guys have power. And then we need to give them all some water. And also lava. So let's grab a bucket. Let's just use this guy. So we'll grab lava in here, and we can store a maximum of 64 buckets. So these guys are all full of lava, and they're producing cobblestone. Let's make sure it's set to nothing. All right, so we can choose what this makes. Like if it makes granite, you can see that it consumes some of the water and the lava. Same thing with andesite. Diorite, deep slate, obsidian will consume the lava, but not the water. Netherrack too. So we'll make netherrack in 1. And this one consumes water and lava, so we're going to need to feed it water as well. Let's put some water inside of the interface also. All right, so now this guy will just be making netherrack, the first one. The second one is doing cobblestone, and we're going to crush the cobblestone into gravel. So that's going to be getting gravel, and then we're going to input the gravel into our system. And this next guy, we're going to crush into gravel and then sand. Oops. So that's gravel and sand. So we're making netherrack, gravel, sand. This one will be netherrack, gravel, sand glass, or not netherrack, gravel, sand glass is what I meant. There it is. We want to make silicone, which is 3 crushes. I think that's all we really need is just the netherrack, gravel, and sand. So these other ones we can just turn off. So these material stonework factories are nice. They're not, I mean, game breaking, and we can speed them up a lot with the upgrades, but we really want the simulated hydroponic beds. Now, if we take a look at hydro beds, we need to make the normal ones first, and that requires fertilizer. Now, to make fertilizer, again, the recipes are kind of messed up, but what we need is a sewer, and we can place this guy about right over here. And we can take a cow and let's shrink the cow to make it funny. How about half size? And he has no AI, so I can put him on top here and he's not going to move. So he'll stay here forever. And we need to give this power. So we'll add another comma sewer. And this is now going to start collecting sewage. And we take the sewage into a sewage composter. And now this guy's making fertilizer. So then we just put that in our system. All right, and with the fertilizer, we can make a hydroponic bed. Let's make 2. And we will also need to store ether gas over here. Let's say like 10 buckets. All right, and here we have a hydroponic bed that I will label, push into our manager. And this is getting lava now. That's not what we wanted. There we go. So now let's take some of those add-ons, speed this guy up. Now this hydroponic bed can grow things like acacia blocks because we're running low on those, right? So we put the acacia on there and you can see it's growing and going. But we don't want it to be doing this all the time because that's kind of crazy. So let's go ahead and grab, let's go ahead and grab a simulation thing. And now this is going to get trained on that. You can see there's a chance for these saplings to kind of break. And if you're doing the simulation, then that doesn't matter either. So I'm only going to train this to an efficiency of 1, and then we can get rid of it. You can move it over immediately. I mean, yeah, what the heck, why not? Let's do that. Same thing, we do that with oak, and now it's going to train on growing an oak tree. All right, and then it's much easier with the simulated ones because they don't have to grow in the world. They just simulated, and they don't need ether gas or water or anything. They just take power. So we put the seed or sapling in there along with the simulation thing. And while it's running in here, the efficiency is going to go up higher and higher. So this is going to continue to grow. So in this first one, we'll put our oak. The next one, we can put acacia. So we'll have both of these going. And then we can do any other kind of seeds. Mainly, I just wanted the oak and the acacia for now. But if you're using mystical agriculture, this is a great way to grow those things. You can't, unfortunately, you can't do flowers in here. So flowers don't go in hydroponic beds. We might be able to do something like sugarcane. Yeah, so you can see sugarcane works. So we can train that. But we have them in the garden cloches already anyway, so I don't know if we really need more. But anyways, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this episode. We just went through the progression line for Industrial Foregoing. As you can see, it's a pretty quick mod. It doesn't take a whole lot to get up and going, and it's got some really convenient things. But unfortunately, this would be super, super useful if we were using mystical agriculture, for example, but unfortunately we're not doing that, or bees, in this series. So we don't have a ton of things that we need to automate with the hydro beds. But this is probably the best thing in this mod right now. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.